welcome to We're Not Wizards. My name's Richard, and I shall be your host forever.
I mean, based on the last few episodes, I think there's been one
That's
constant
pretty true.
across this podcast, and it's you.
It is. Now joining me, he's talking away in the background. He's been on before. He's kind of like, he's beyond a repeat offender. He's now effectively on parole.
Ooh.
It's the rather wonderful, it's the rather fantastic, it's the rather freshly out of handcuffs. He may be a man by himself, but he's definitely your one bro.
Ooh.
When he
That's good.
teams up, he's not just one humanities, twin humanities. It's the rather wonderful, the rather fantastic Mr. Patrick Stardust.
Hello, everyone. You can call me Paddy, though, internet. Thanks. I always like coming on there because you're always really nice. It's like getting an audio. It's like getting an audio blowjob. It's really good.
And we're switching the iTunes to explicit for this episode.
Thanks for having me. Oh, it's good to be back. Well, I counted. This is appearance number 4.
I know.
Because I listened to the last episode I was on, and it said it was at number 3. So I just figured I'd add 1 and figured I'd get the right number.
It's always a good thing to try and just make these things up and hopefully that they hit, because people are going to go back. But this is what I find out, is that people go back and listen to previous episodes, because occasionally I'll look at the download thing and I'll go, oh my goodness, you're listening to that, and it's like, I wonder what I said on that. I'm really kind of concerned what I kind of said on that. I think the worst thing...
No, I like that, because every now and again we'll get comments on like old episodes on the YouTube particularly. It's like, who's just found that? What year is it? You're like an episode from 2015, and I'm getting YouTube comments like, what the hell?
I think I have like short-term memory loss or something, because I'll not remember what I've said, and then I'll listen back to quality, and I'll be like, what'd you say that for? And then
well, my favourite is if it's a recent one, and you listen to yourself having a conversation, like I did when I listened to our last episode that I was on here with. I found myself almost saying the thing that I would have said on the podcast, as I said, like, this would be a good retort to, oh, I said that. Okay, fine.
I've got to write that down in the show notes to make sure that I add it in.
It's really disjointed. It's really disjointed. It hurts. Because you want to go, yeah, that's what I would have,
I did. I'm just such a disappointment to myself. Or maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm just living up to my own expectations of what I'm going to succeed at in life, which is always pretty good. The admin part, guess you got to do admin.
Admin?
Yeah.
Boo!
Don't say that.
I do charge an admin fee.
These are... It's like, do you know what? I was trying to think of a GDPR joke, because I was going to say, kind of like, and for people who haven't listened to the before, you will realise that our terms and conditions and our privacy policy has changed.
We're now not allowed to know if you're a wizard or not.
Exactly. I can't even weed these people out. They're just like listening in regardless. And
if you do decide to disclose if you are a wizard or not, the information can only be used for the purposes of the podcast. We're not allowed to share it with anyone without your express permission. If you wish to see whether you are a wizard or not, you can contact We're Not Wizards at any time, and we'll reveal that information back to you.
And we're not allowed to charge you for that either, unless it causes unnecessary and unreasonable amounts of work for us to provide that information to you. But thanks for everybody for joining us this evening. Yes, this is the wonderful Paddy Smith, who has been on before many times and is a fantastic and wonderful and worthwhile human being, as you're about to hear. The reason that we do this is because I'm addicted and I can't stop. And also because
the Jeremy Greer of cardboard.
The Jeremy Greer of cardboard. Wow. And the other reason that we do this is because we had a Twitter conversation and we go back and forward, and we said, you coming on again? You went, yep, I've got stuff to talk about. Let's get this stuff talked about. So that's why you're back on today. You've been well though. You've been busy. Because let's touch on some sweet things. I did kind of, I guess, in a kind of a cryptic manner in the intro, mention about your one bro.
Yeah.
Because at time of recording, you had successfully completed a one bro run through the original Dark Souls. And for those who aren't aware, Dark Souls is potentially one of the okayest games ever. And you did a run which meant that you didn't level up, but you leveled up all your weapons, and you beat all the bosses.
But not my body. My body was a pure baby body, level 1.
Glass cannon.
Glass cannon. Well, for those who don't know what Dark Souls might be, because this is a cardboard podcast, remember Dark Souls, the board game that came out last year? This is the video game that was based on. Was that necessary? It stays.
I don't know. I think just run with it, and then if we lose people, then we'll just lose people.
And I think 2 years ago, I decided to do. It was like a charity stream initially. I was going to do it for work, just, raise some money. I thought it'd be a laugh, try and see how far I could get in one go. As a level 1 guy. And I think I did like 9 hours, and I got about halfway through the game. Got to Anor Londo, which is like a really the big midpoint in the game. On the one stream, I was really happy with it, and then I kind of drifted away and thought, do you know what? I'm going to finish this. I can do this. So I ended up doing it back on YouTube again, and I kind of drifted on and off for it, but I think the last 2-3 months I've really sort of tripled down and just got on with it and finished it off. I think I was releasing an episode every day for the last 2 months.
You were like me on podcasting. I was like continually getting notifications on my phone, and I was thinking, has there been some kind of mistake? Is this kind of happening? And it was happening all the time. But towards the end, you got creative. Yeah,
the thing is, so you can only beat a boss, or you only fight a boss so many times and have it still be entertaining. So I found this, I was fighting a guy called Artorias, who's brilliant but an absolute pain. And I decided that I got to a point where I couldn't think of anything interesting to say anymore. And I'd run every course. I was like, well, I've talked about it enough. I'm just going to go to a montage at this point. I'd sort of toyed with the idea before, and I'd sort of planned it out in the bath a couple of days earlier, thinking, I wonder what I could do if this doesn't work. And
were you watching anime while you were planning it out in the bath?
I have watched it in the bath, yes. Not this time. I don't watch. Well, I used audio from My Hero Academia, which is a really good show.
Okay.
I was watching Gintama in the bath at the time, which is it's a Japanese show. It's very silly, but the title is very, very close to, I believe it's the phrase Kintama, which means golden balls.
Can I just point out at this point in time that I'm not actually stalking Paddy and aware of his bathing habits, is that this is actually in the public domain. Because people will be sitting there going, why does he know how this guy has a bath and what he does when he has a bath?
No, this is all public knowledge. It's very well known. It's not an issue for me. My GDPR things are very open. But anyway, I was shush. I was planning it out. I thought I know the perfect thing this can go to. So I really like the show My Hero Academia. There's a really good couple of fights in it, and there's just this fabulous music called "You Say Run," and it fits it's every single fight. It's one of the YouTube memes where it's like, this goes with everything, and it does. Like Garl's theme, it goes with everything. And I kind of planned it out, and it only took me about 3 more goes at the fight until I actually beat him. I thought, right, let's do this. 4 hours of editing later, I had an anime masterpiece.
Oh,
and I was
so
very proud
good.
of it. Yeah, and then once
so
I've done that one,
good.
I thought, well, I've got to do more now because it was so fun. I find that the creative spark kind of comes and goes. Like, sometimes you're up for stuff and sometimes you're not. And I think once I got this one done and saw the reception it's got, I was like, I've got to do more of these. This was too much fun. Like, this was silly. Like, everyone really enjoyed it. Like, I had some really nice comments. I was like, right, well, the next couple of bosses are getting them anyway, so let's make that happen. And then I did. Again, it was probably the most fun I've had doing, video stuff in a long, long time. And I'll probably be doing some more soon. I don't know what it'll be yet, but I'm, workshopping some ideas. But there'll be some fun stuff coming soon, I hope.
Are you doing? Because this is it's open mic season tonight. It can be an away from the table episode, so you can talk about anything. You're probably going to talk about it on the.
I've written notes though.
Twin Humanities. Yeah, I know.
I've written more notes than I ever have for my own show.
But I know that anyway. But we touched on this last time, and CJ got angry at me and sent me pigeons. I don't know why. He did. He was quite annoyed.
Anytime I write notes for someone else, he sends some jealousy pigeons.
It's jealousy. Was it like that Japanese dating game with pigeons? I can't remember what it's called, but it's fantastic.
Hatto for Boyfriend.
That's the one. And you've been playing. Well, everybody's been playing the new Dark Souls remastered. Yeah,
it's good.
Is it?
I like it. It's quite good. The thing is, it's quite nice seeing it all populated. There's loads of people playing. at the moment.
Yes!
You can go to
It's
anywhere
amazing.
and you look at the floor and it's like, oh, there's 400 people to pick from.
Even on the most unusual places, even in the place under the bridge before you, when you come up to the little three rats before you enter into Silverboar Town.
Yeah.
And I was like going down there and I was like, oh my goodness, there's like summon signs. I'd never seen summon signs. There's obviously gankers there as well, round about the Undegburg, which I didn't like because it must have been folk getting invaded, and they'd be just like, why are you doing this?
They're the scum of the earth, but they were always expected. I've not been invaded too much yet. I've been just helping out at the minute. I've already got 3 separate runs going.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I've got the first run I did. I thought I'll do another weird gimmick run. What can I do? I thought I'll pick one of the classes and I'll use that one for the entire game and use all their starting gear. You know, I'll level up how I want, but I'm going to use all the starting gear, so the starting armor, the starting weapons. That's all I'll use for them. So I picked a bandit, I think, because I like the armor, and I've run a bandit up to Anor Londo. It's going quite well, you know. Again, it's weird not being able to sort of change stuff out, but it means you just sort of focus your build and you think, right, I've got an axe, I've got a shield, and I've got running around.
And you've got an inability to be able to kind of dodge lightning and boulders.
There is that. So yeah, that's the character that made the tweet that has done the most numbers of anything I've ever done, by quite a long way, was running around in Sen's Fortress, which is, for those of you who don't know, is a Dungeons & Dragons hellhole of traps and snakes.
It's awful.
It's brilliant and awful. I love it to pieces. I know every stone of that place by heart, but it doesn't matter, because it still will find a way to destroy you.
Absolutely did.
So I was trying to skip through an area, and I jumped down, and a snake man shot me with lightning, and I fell off the platform he was on. A boulder then hit me and ran me over, which then proceeded to knock me off of that ledge down to a lower ledge. The same boulder then turns a corner, comes back and flattens me again. It was glorious, and I wish I had the microphone on at the time, because I was cackling like an idiot the entire time.
Oh, it was so beautiful.
And it won't stop. It won't stop. The notifications keep coming. It won't stop. Although I can reveal this. I can actually reveal this as a We're Not Wizards exclusive.
Yes.
I think I might be on Kotaku's highlight reel video in a couple of days.
Really?
I got contacted by Chris Person, who's like, "Can I use this?" I'm like, "Of course you can."
Oh my goodness, that's amazing. You're just going to go stratospheric.
I'm famous now.
Will you still talk to me when you're famous?
Who are you?
I don't know.
Oh, so quick!
Can I pay you some money to stay on the podcast, please? Because we've only done 15 minutes, and it'd be a shame to lose you right now. I am currently helping people with the Taurus Demon. What I'm doing is, when I get summoned, I run up to the actual tower where the Taurus Demon jumps in.
Do you wait?
And so, what it does is I just stand there with my sword, and then all you hear is him going, "Rah!" and he jumps and lands in front of you, facing away from you.
Ooh.
And then I just start hacking away at him and just chopping off large, massive chunks of his health. And I think it was Martin Charlton kind of went, he says, "I saw you tweeting about that." He says, were you playing a little while ago? I went, "Yeah, I was." He says, somebody just did that entirely the same tactic. He says, "It's very, very strange." So I don't know if I'd kind of unintentionally helped him, but it's been
I've seen a couple of people do it, though. I've helped a couple. I've seen lots of more people than I expected. Usually the giveaway for that is to go and stand on the tower, wait for you to come over, and then all three of you take turns doing drop attacks. So you do your drop attack, then go back up the ladder. The second person goes, then the third person goes, then you go again until you've beaten it. It's very, very silly.
Yeah. I'm still trying to get over kind of moving from Bloodborne back to Dark Souls, because it's kind of like moving from being in your activewear back to being in your slippers and your kind of your comfy jumper.
I can see that. Yeah, I can see that. I've had some issues myself with. I've been playing Dark Souls 2 with CJ again, and again the pace of it's slightly different, so you get used to a way of doing things, and you come back to the other game like, oh, I can roll 300 miles an hour. Interesting.
I know, and it's good fun. It's fantastic, but it's almost like when you're doing I don't know, you've got to roll like a rock, I guess.
Breaking my hip roll.
Well, kind of. Either you end up lying on the flat,
speaking of,
like a piece of paper.
Speaking of, I can actually bring this round to cardboard.
You can.
Dark Souls,
That's
the
why
board
I did
game, gave me an injury the other day.
No way.
Yeah, I got a proper injury from it. Because I went to work and I was hobbling around. They're like, "What happened? Did you fall?" I went, "No, board game injury." And they just look at me like, "What?" No, really. What, Twister? No.
Oh dear.
So what I did?
Know.
Yeah,
But,
so what I did is I had a day free, I had the afternoon free, I had a few hours to myself. Didn't really fancy playing anything, because again, remaster was about 2 weeks away. I thought, well, I don't want to get too involved in anything. I want to just play some cardboard. I thought, do you know what? I haven't played with my Dark Souls game in ages. Let's get that out. And I've painted it all, apart from about 4 figures. It's all done. So I thought I'll play with the ones I've painted, and, you know, it's really good. You know, I really enjoyed myself. But I found that what I did is I laid out my gaming mat, which I got for Christmas, from my soon-to-be brother-in-law, it's big, it's red, it's got my face with the Photoshop beard all the way around the outside, and on the middle of it, in Comic Sans, it says Paddy's Big Boy Gaming Mat. It's a thing of beauty. It's disgusting and brilliant, and it's absolutely for me.
I need pictures of this.
Yeah, I put them up on Twitter at Christmas, but I will definitely get some more pictures, because it's horrific. So I set it all out on the floor because it's quite a big mat and the game's quite big, and Laura had some stuff on the table, so I thought I'll play it in the front room, I'll sit on the floor. So I laid it out and I put it all out, and I was, you know, played around. I beat the Winged Knight, and then I beat the Ornstein and Smo encounter. Very proud of myself. The first time I've ever actually beaten the damn thing. We've always died near the end, but I beat the damn thing by myself. I was very proud of myself. And then I stood up, and then my right leg buckled from under me because I'd been sat on it for the last 2 hours.
Oh my goodness.
And I did that kind of drunk wobble. You know when you see clips of like UFC fighters and they get rocked and they kind of go Whoa! That.
Paddy, I'm 43, so me getting up from any kind of couch, sofa situation, even when I've not been lying on my own leg, kind of produces that kind of whoa.
Yeah, it was wobble leg, and it lasted for about 4 days. It hurt for.
Really?
Literally, I was limping at work. I was hobbling around, like, you're right, like, sort of. So yeah, basically the lesson here is don't sit on your own leg for 2 hours without moving. It might feel okay at the time, but when you stand up, oh no, bad time. So yeah, thanks Dark Souls.
It's another reason to say I don't like this board game because it gave me personal injuries, kind of thing. He's still enjoying it though.
Well, this is the first time I played it since I think I spoke to you last. We were talking about how we hadn't played it since, and I really enjoyed it actually. Because I played it by myself, played solo, and I found that I was doing all right. I was having quite a bit of fun. I wasn't having to sort of micromanage different people. I know it's like a different game with multiplayer, but on my own, I found I could manage. I was playing as the warrior class, the barbarian, which is the one I always like to sort of pick because it's got a big axe and it's sort of chunky bunky. And the weapons I actually got the reinforced club, which was the weapon I used in my One Bro run. So like, well, using that, it turns out it went really well. It felt right.
That's exactly what it is.
It felt perfect. Got some decent armour, which meant I could sort of tank basically everything that hit me, unless I got a bad roll, and it just kind of was enough to propel me through to the end, and I was genuinely quite chuffed. And I think I can probably talk us through, or like a couple of people now, I reckon I can talk a couple of people through to a victory. I think I know enough about the mechanics now to make it work. But until we do it, and I'm proven spectacularly wrong, we won't know. But I'm really excited because they've been putting out pictures of all the expansions. They've all hit production now, and I've been looking at the different mechanics that are coming with each boss. So rather than just have a big plastic mini with a big health pool, each one of these boss expansions has its own like individual condition that comes with it. So you've got like the Asylum Demon, which is the very first enemy, like the very first boss you fight in the Asylum. Big fat guy with a hammer. And his arena's quite big, and it comes with pillar tokens. And it's got a special thing called Pillar Smash. So if you're anywhere near a pillar when it goes down, you'll get staggered, and you'll get like an extra stamina point lost, and you'll take a bit of damage, and it'll kind of knock you back. So it encourages you to kind of use your positioning. The Gaping Dragon, which is the one I'm getting, which is the giant teeth dragon, has an ability called Corrosion. Where if you kind of get it, it means all your attacks cost more stamina to use, and you take more damage. And it can charge as well, so it can do the move in the game where it puts its head down and just dashes across the map, and it can do that multiple times in a single attack. So it's like, no, I'm going to die. But it's been really cool. Like, they've been putting out different things. Like, if you don't want to know what it's about, don't click forward. But I've been clicking forward because it's interesting. And there's some cool stuff coming. The only thing I'm slightly annoyed about is that some of the packs that were going to be, you could buy them later, are now going to be Kickstarter exclusives because they can't keep up with production, apparently. So the Old Iron King, I think, there's about 3 or 4 of the boss expansions which won't be made available at retail now. Just a little bit upsetting.
Yeah, that is... Yeah, I don't know what that. Do you know what I don't? If something that takes production takes 18 months to 2 years, everybody's still getting the wages, and everybody's still getting paid. And I think once it extends out to that amount, you really start to eat into the kind of the available funds. Once the production kind of takes that long. So I think they've had to make a decision to say, I think they've had to make a financial decision to say, well, we have to deliver on this and we have to shut the gate on that because we've got other things kind of coming up. Because I don't think they reckoned it was going to take this long to get this stuff out. And it's a real shame because there's going to be... I hope there's a lot of people that pick it up when it comes out because I think the shipping's meant to be in July sometime.
It's July, yeah. I've been keeping up with the product updates. And I kind of understand why they've had to do it. It's just a little bit disappointing. It's like, oh, you can buy it later, so I haven't got to worry about dropping 300 quid now if I want to get all of it. I can pick up bits for Christmas here and there, but there's only going to be about, I think, 2 or 3 of the packs actually available in shops or for purchase once it's out. I think the Dark Route expansion is going to be one of them because that's an important one. I think the Four Kings is going to be a big one as well. But yeah, as someone who wanted to... What I wanted to do was kind of have it as like a thing you can get a treat every now and again. So like for Christmas, like I'll get one of the packs for Christmas and have a new model and a new thing to play with. But now it's going to be quite limited. I'm going to have to make a decision now if I want to up my pledge now and get more, which I don't think I will do because I've spent a bit too much money on board games this year, which we'll get into in a minute. But yeah, I don't know. It's a little bit disappointing, but you know, it's not like I've lost anything I've paid for. Like they're delivering what people have paid for, but the plans to make it available afterwards aren't there. It's fine, you know. These things happen. So,
yeah, it's down to the exclusivity, isn't it? You can't even guarantee that if somebody says, "Oh, we're definitely going to be bringing this out for retail later on," that it's going to be available for retail, and that just kind of creates kind of problems.
Until it hits the shop, you can't say yes until don't count your chickens until they've been released to board game shops.
I don't know about you, but it makes me want to pick up a rock, wrap it in some paper, and then throw it at a wizard.
Ooh. Oh! You crafty boy.
Do you like that?
That was... Wow, what a good segue. I think on the last episode you did a great segue, and I think I commented on that as well, so we're keeping it going.
I have been to segue classes. We can pick a topic, and I can
How do you get to segue classes? Do you have to take a segue to get there?
Yes, you do. You actually say, well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're just going to go down that street. We're going to go down that way. Then we're going to go down to Links Road.
Ooh. You're very good at this.
I'm trying my best. As I say,
really
I've got to be good at something. Rock, paper, wizard.
Rock, paper, wizard.
It's not like this debacle that you see in the big monotonous Bang Theory about rock, paper, scissors, lizard, gizzard, Spock.
No, none of that nonsense. No. We don't talk about that show.
We don't.
In this house.
We don't.
But I got Rock, Paper, Wizard for Christmas from, I think it was Laura or Mum or someone. One of the people that I know got it for me. I don't know.
One of my acquaintances.
Christmas was 6 months ago now. I don't bloody know anymore. And I thought you'd be interested because, you know, it's a game about wizards, and I know you don't like games about wizards. And if you get a choice, you pick a character that isn't a wizard. Unfortunately, every character in this game is a wizard. You're just going to have to go with me on this one.
I'm gonna listen, but I am actually really, really gripping the desk.
You're just leaving the Skype call for a while.
I am just gonna. You go and tell them.
I'll tell them what it's about.
Okay, you tell them what it's about. I'm just gonna be over here. Okay, I'm just gonna be right here.
You go over there. Okay, you be safe.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll go. Okay, so Rock Paper Wizard is basically a game where the premise, it's like a heist that's gone bad. It's a bit like Reservoir Dogs, but if everyone was a wizard and there was a dragon. So basically the premise is, the setup is that you are all a team of wizards that have gone to go kill a dragon. You did that. The dragon's dead. At the start of the game, you killed the dragon. Brilliant. And you look at the dragon's treasure hoard, and everyone stops, and you all look at each other, and then the wands and the spell hands get raised again, and it becomes a game of, like, who can steal the most money while screwing over everybody else. So it's like a heist game, almost.
Do wizards get hurt?
Oh, do wizards get hurt? Of course they get hurt.
I love it.
So, basically, it's... The actual board for the game is ridiculously simple. It's literally a 9-inch long cardboard board with about, I think, 15 sort of spaces. It's like a track, like a ladder track. So you start in the middle, You've got the cave entrance on one end, and you've got the dragon's horde on the other end. And each game is played in rounds. So you play a round, and your aim is to get as close to the treasure and knock everybody else as far back as you can. And whoever's closest to the treasure at the end of the round gets some treasure. Doesn't matter where you are, as long as you're the closest, you get loads of treasure. The second closest gets a little bit of treasure, and so on and so forth. And you've got to hit a certain point of treasure where I've got 20, I win. And the way that you move around, so each round is played out with an extended sort of game of rock, paper, scissors. But rather than throwing rock, paper, or scissors, you throw one of 5 spells. The way the spells work is you've got these big, really oversized spell cards, sort of like bigger than your phone, like big. Oversized spell cards, and they have a hand gesture on it.
They've got a picture of a hand gesture on it, and then when you start to play the game, what you do is, depending on the players that you have, you'll decide to point your hand gesture at a particular player.
Yeah.
I've played this game.
Have you?
I've played this game.
Oh, there you go then. You'll know how good it is.
It's rubbish. It's got wizards in it.
It's really fun. So you have 5 spells to choose from, and they'll be categorised. You can only have 2 of a certain kind. So there's red, blue, and green. I think red ones are damaging, blue ones are moving, and green ones are other weird stuff. So you've got to have 5 spells out, and they've got to be of different. So you can't just have all move cards. It's got to be a good mix. Each spell is a real D&D spell, taken and adapted. So you've got Fireball, Confusion. You've got Misty Step, which lets you kind of transport yourself to where somebody else is. And these are done by literally you hold your hands out and you go rock, paper, wizard, and throw your hand across. Point at the person you wish to cast the spell at using the hand gesture that casts the spell. Now, every time I've played this with new people, the very best round is always the first one. The first time I played it was at Christmas with Mum and Dad. So it was me, Laura, Mum and Dad, my sister and her fiance as well. And we sit around the table and we look at the cards. We go, everyone ready? Okay, you're going to go first. All right, are we ready for this? Okay. And rock, paper, wizard. 6 hands shoot out across the table, and we all sit there frozen for a second, not quite sure what to do. Right, what? And we've all got to hold our hands up and hang on, what are the Wait, hang on, Mum, you're first. Right, what did you... Fireball. Oh, damn, that was aimed at me. And you sort of move your characters up and down. So some spells will push a wizard back. Some spells will switch you over. Some will let you move forwards while taking someone's gold. There's lots of different things you can do. It's about sort of guessing what the other people are going to do. And going first isn't always necessarily an advantage because people know you've gone first and will try and use that to bring you back towards them. But it's really, really silly. There's a confusion one, which means that you move the target of your spell 1 person to the right, which can involve, I think, 3 times ended up with someone pointing their spell at themselves. Because you count as a target, so if you've aimed at the person to your right, and they go, oh, yep, confusion, I'm going to fireball myself now, please, oh dear. Every single game we played ended up in arguments. Good arguments, funny arguments, oh, you sod. Oh, what? No, why are you, again with this? I really liked it. We've played a couple of games at Christmas with my dad. We've played some with other friends as well, and it's always gone down really well. It's quite easy, is the thing. It's really simple to understand.
It's a party game. It's just a party game. I mean, that's what I came because we set it up as it's like a 10-minute, or it can even be like a 5-minute kind of quick game if you just want a quick muck around.
It's a warm up.
Depending on the number of games. Because I remember, I think we played it after we had played Wasteland Express Delivery Service, which was good. But it's well, who wants a game of this? And I went, Wizards? Really?
Would it have been better if it was rock, paper, druid?
Rock, paper, vomit would have been fine.
Anything but the W word.
Anything but, it's just like a trigger warning. But anyway, but it was good fun. It was good fun if you have people who are kind of wanting to double and second guess what other people are doing. It's a really good kind of mind game. You can really mess with people kind of all the time. It's it's the Derren Brown of kind of warm up games because you can pick the same person to the point that they think you're always going to be doing that spell, and then you just keep doing it anyway, and just kind of regardless. I mean, I had to leave, so I did kind of tap out kind of early, but it's definitely something I would kind of play. I like the fact it was kind of it seemed to be it had really good production values.
Oh, it's gorgeous. Really, really well put together.
It's
the cards,
lovely,
those massive cards are lovely, aren't they?
oh, they're really, really nice, really kind of nice to kind of look at. And it was really, really good fun, and it was pretty, it's really, really quick to play. And yeah, I'd probably play it again, maybe if I was paid a reasonable amount of money.
Okay.
But anyway.
Okay. Sorry, do you hear that crashing sound? That's my rats fighting in the background. I apologise.
That's fine. They probably heard the word wizard too many times, and that's just kind of flipped them off, and they said, we're not having wizards on this
I know you're upset about the
podcast."
wizards. I know you're upset. Enough. Enough of this now. Behave. Stop looking at each other tall. They're doing that thing where they stand up and look at each other, trying to be all tall, and neither of them's quite winning. That's it.
Have they been playing Codenames again? Have they been arguing over that?
They have. They've been making bad choices on word clues for Codenames. And oh boy, have I got some doozies for you.
I want to hear about this because I spoke. Do you know I spoke to Gary Butterfield about Codenames. That's how long ago it was. It was like
wow.
That was a long. Wow.
Wow.
Wow. Wow.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. We're gonna get killed. You know that.
We're gonna get copyright struck by Owen Wilson himself, aren't we?
I just want to buy a couch, man. What were you doing? You started off.
Christ.
You were like, you were doing acting. I can forgive him for his romantic comedy roles. I mean, I even saw him in Meet the Parents the other thing, and that was kind of weird seeing Ben Stiller being really, really kind of young. But then he's like on a couch advert going, look at me, I just like to sit down sometimes, wow. And I'm just like, what are you doing? You can do better than this. I mean, do something.
You were in Zoolander.
I mean, yeah, exactly. You're Derek Zoolander. But,
you did that on the last episode I was on.
I did the Zoom episode. I do that. I can do Michael Caine. Because I've got the same kind of problems with my sinuses.
God, that thing we were talking about earlier is happening.
It is. It's just like, we're in a time loop. We're in a time loop.
Oh, God.
Help me.
Should we just talk about the Gloomhaven tea incident again?
Did you get? I got
my boards. Yeah, my boards are here now. The manual isn't,
good.
But I've been told it's coming. So the boards are here. Pieces are replaced, and all is well in the land of gloom.
I think actually at that time I was about to speak to Isaac.
I think you were. Yeah.
Yeah. He was quite. He was a card.
That's good.
He was a really nice guy.
Did you say it was a dicey conversation?
No. He was kind of like trolling everybody. It was rather fantastic. He just came out straight away and said, okay, who can I insult? Okay, Settlers of Catan is fairly dull.
Let's have him.
I just went, he went, have it.
Would he say that it made him bored?
I don't know. I don't know if I can I don't know. You're going to go to Hellboy for that one.
Oh, come on. No, we're still on Codenames. I need to tell you about Codenames.
Tell me about Codenames.
So,
what version are you playing?
I got this for Christmas as well.
Right.
Again, I got a lot of board games for Christmas. I asked for a lot of board games. And these two were the main ones I got. And there's one more later as well, but we'll get there soon. Codenames. I've heard you talk about it so many times. Like, you keep saying Codenames all the time, especially on the early episodes. Like, Codenames. It's like, I've got to put it on my radar a bit. And I was like, well, it comes up in all the magazines, like, easy games to play with your family, games for 25 quid that are good, like, oh, this seems pretty good.
It's in Waterstones as well.
It's in Waterstones, which is great.
Yeah, it is. It's not like you can avoid it now.
I think Rock Paper Wizard is as well. I'm sure it is.
I would not steal that. I would steal Codenames if I was doing shoplifting, but it's not near enough.
In a secret agent style?
Yeah, well, I've got a long enough jacket.
It's me, Agent Umbrella.
It'd be like, yeah.
That's my favourite part. One of my favourite parts of the game is when you put all the words down on the board that you have to guess the agent names of, and it's just reading them out like, oh, look, it's me, Agent Ice Cream, and my cohort, Agent. It's me, Agent Alleyway. Who's coming up with these agent names?
I think they're just words.
Yeah, well, you've got like, hey, it's me, big hard-boiled Agent Purse.
It's just the Disney ones or the Avenger ones or the Star Wars ones. Eh? It's me, Agent Yoda.
Yoda agent I am.
Let's not do that. I can't do a Yoda impression that's like this. It's like, that's why they need to release an Owen Wilson Codenames. Could you imagine?
And every agent card just says "Wow." Wow.
It'd just be brilliant.
It's one card and it says "Wow."
It'd just be like surprise 16. Wow. In fact, it'd be wrong because it'd be surprise 8 because there isn't a.
And if you turn over the spy card, the black spy card, turn it over. You're Derek Zoolander. Owen Wilson should be in all board games. There we go. We should just
have. I'm going to speak to Isaac Childress about getting him added to the Gloomhaven board game. And it's like the Gloomhaven box. You know, you got all the figures in the little white boxes.
Mm.
And you
it's like a secret sealed box, and it just says "Wow" on the outside.
You open up the tab on the inside. It just says, Wow. It's really squeaky wow because he's a miniature Owen Wilson.
A tiny Owen Wilson in a box.
Oh my goodness.
Let's talk about my dad for a bit. My stupid father. I actually missed a thing earlier talking about Rock Paper Wizard out my stupid father. Dad's not brilliant at games. He likes to play them. He's not good at them. However, he's oddly brilliant at Small World. He has won every game of Small World I have ever played with him, and he doesn't know how either. He's just fluky good at it, and we don't understand how he's become this sort of idiot savant at Small World.
We're counting cards.
Yeah. But so in Rock Paper Wizard, you've got your various hand gestures on the table, and my dad would just throw out something different than that. Like, he'd have the confusion gesture, which was a hand upside down with the thumb and the finger extended. He'd have his hand kind of vertical with 2 fingers out one way. It's like, Dad, what is that? What spell have you cast? Is it all of them? There's nothing confusion. I'm confused, Dad.
He's doing West Coast gang signs.
Rock, paper, West Side.
Exactly, your boy. You can't. What spell's that? It's the popping a cap in your ass spell. It's like that. Confusion. Yep, definitely.
Yeah, it was very bad. Like he's not good at anything. We have to kind of do something specific. He's very vague on these sort of things, which leads us to Codenames. He's done some things. I'm gonna go in order of severity from least bad to most bad. So we played it a couple of weeks ago. We had a sort of an evening, and they came around and we played some Codenames. And I went out with my dad because I make a point of not being on his team in games like this because he's bad, which is how I won the family dinosaur at Christmas, by not being on Dad's team at any point.
So sorry. I just get the tears in the eyes. The family dinosaur.
Yeah, we're not. Oh, not okay. So what we've got in our little core of 6. So my mum and dad, me and Laura, my sister and her fiance. Whenever we get together, usually around every 6 months or so, 4 to 6 months, we'll get together for some sort of game night where we'll get out things like Small World, like Robo Rally, like Catan. That's always a favourite. Things like Cards Against Humanity, anything 6-player, basically, we'll try and bust out. So Codenames and Rock Paper Wizard have joined that cachet of games as well. And we play them, and whoever gets the most wins on that night of games wins the trophy, which is a plastic dinosaur my mum picked up from Wilkinson's for about £3. And every time we play, it gets a new embellishment. So last time we played, it was Christmas, and he has, I think, a bell around his neck now. He's got about 4 or 5 embellishments on. And the mum and dad have won it for the last 3 times in a row, but I took it at Christmas. It lives in my house now. And it's only up for sale, so the dinosaur is only ever on the line when all 6 of us are there. So if only mum and dad come over for a board game, that dinosaur stays where he's put. He stays on my shelf, looking down with victory in his eyes.
I bet you move it about though. I bet you move it into a closer table so they can be reminded.
It is nearby the games table. It's just on the shelf behind. Like, look at our lovely dinosaur that I win, that I'm the champion of, champion for life.
What kind of dinosaur is it?
It's a T-Rex.
Of course it is.
Yeah. And at Christmas we were putting like marshmallows in his gob and sort of.
Is he quite big?
It's not massive. It's about 6 inches tall. It's not huge.
That's big enough.
But I'm going to get like a wooden base for it and get it all sort of, glued and nailed down so it's like a proper trophy. Because at the minute he's standing in a little plastic base and it's good, it works, but it's not very attractive. So I think we need a proper trophy. We've got too much time on our hands.
Just imagine it, just the pure fights that go on.
My dad gave it up very unwillingly at Christmas. He would not let go. I had to pull it out of his hands, and I was a very bad winner. I was not good. I was holding it above my head, and I was cackling with glee, and I was giving everyone the finger. I was a bad winner. It's the first time I've won the dinosaur. I was excited.
Did you put it in their face and go, yes, look, yes. Oh, what's your name? Oh, you could call me Daddy. I'm Daddy Paddy. I'm the Daddy Paddy Rex.
Look upon your god now.
I'm king of the dinosaurs. Look, don't worry, you don't have to look at the losers over there. You're with me now.
How many points did you win? Not as many as me.
Did you get a t-shirt made?
Not for Christmas this year, no, but I don't need it. I've got the dinosaur, that's enough. Girls, will you stop fighting? Oh my god, these rats tonight. When we played Codenames with Dad, I went on the team with Dad this time, because, I thought, I'll throw him a bone. Dinosaur's not on the line, I'll team with Dad. Dad will throw out references to things that I've never seen. And reference to things that happened before I was born. We were playing the other day, and he dropped, his clue was Basildon. And you're not going to get that, Basildon. I went, no, I'm not going to get that. I don't get it. And Mum went, I get it. And Laura went, I don't get it. And I went, I don't get it. And I sat there for about 3 minutes and guessed, I think, strike. I was like, maybe there's been a miner strike in Basildon. Is Basildon a mining town? I don't know. Turns out the answer was Bond. Basildon Bonds. A thing I didn't know existed.
Basildon Bond was the... Oh, who was that? Was that not Russell Harty or somebody like that?
I don't know, because I'm a baby child.
I do know. I'm probably about the same age as your dad.
I'm 32, and I'd never seen of this before, ever. I didn't have any clue. Mum's like, yeah, Basildon Bond. Like, Mum, I don't know what you're talking about. It'd be like me dropping a dank meme on you.
Exactly. Do you not one bro?
Yeah, like, the clue is Salt Bay. Like, what does that mean? To anyone who doesn't go on the internet, it doesn't mean anything.
Oh, dear. That's so amazing. Basildon Bond.
Basildon Bond. I was like, great, thanks, Dad. Dad has also used, in previous games, he's used the word dipstick as a clue. Laura, what was the answer for that? Sorry, she's just laughing in the background.
I just said that.
Okay, dipstick has activated our PlayStation camera listening device. Brilliant. Laura, what did dipstick...
I think it was like branch.
It was branch.
Or something. It was terrible.
How does dipstick lead to branch? How? Do you make them out of branches?
Maybe.
It was terrible, but the crown jewel of Oh My God Dad. The crown jewel of Oh My God Dad. Pretty early in the game, we'd had about 2 or 3 guesses each. We got about 2 or 3 agents on the board each. Still a fair few, sort of, 15 to 20 cards on the table. Dad turns to his teammates and says, right, 2, ing. And we went, what? And he said, ing, like, what, ing? Yes, there were, I kid you not, 9 cards that could have ended in the word ing on the table. It's like, Dad, shop ing. Push ing.
Dear.
Frost ing. Did you not look? He went, ooh, driving. And he sat there looking red, like, oh yeah. Whoops. Ing.
Did you get them right?
No! But he wasn't on my team. This is why I don't go on a team with my dad when the dinosaur is on the line, because he is a liability.
I'm not doing that when the dinosaur is on the line.
It's too important to risk on ing.
Dear.
Ing! What a clue! It doesn't even, Dad doesn't even go for, what we call the risky 4. When you drop, a 4, ooh. He'll always do, a 1 or a 2, but it'll always be the worst clues. And every now and again, we'll sync up and I'll feel ashamed of myself. It's like, oh, God, I'm thinking the way he's thinking. But his crown jewel's ing. I can't, every time we play that game now, it's like, remember, don't say ing.
You can wear that on a little badge. And you can have the T-Rex on your shoulder.
Maybe we'll get him a little placard around his neck that just says ing. Look, T-Rexing.
Just send off his license to the DVLA with a name change. Get it as his middle name.
Mark Ing Smith.
So he doesn't notice. Just make sure everything that he touches
Turns to Ing.
awesome. Can you imagine that? Passport changes and stuff. Just put the ING in.
What's your name, mate? Look, I lost a bet, alright?
Exactly.
So yeah, but otherwise, apart from my stupid father, I really like Codenames. I'm really glad we got it, and it's it's a real good, easy party game. Anyone can play it. I know you've talked plenty of sugar about it on the show before, but
Oh yeah, I love it. Yeah.
love it to pieces. Like genuinely, and we're looking at other versions of it as well now. Like there's the picture one that's out, and there's the 2-player one I think as well. It's like, oh, I wouldn't mind a couple extra versions of this. This is a good game. This.
Yeah, I always just played with the kids and played it 3-player, and it was always kind of good fun. And I think my brother's got a loan of my copy at the moment because I was trying to get them into playing some games, and it kind of worked.
Yeah,
You know,
as these
'cause
things go, Ing, it's a pretty good gateway drug, isn't it?
Nah, it was good. Oh no. I kind of like it. I like it. You can set it down in front of anybody, and
All
everybody
ages
will
can do
get it.
Yeah, exactly.
All ages can do it. You know, even if whether or not the dinosaur's on the line, regardless, it kind of really doesn't matter. But you know, you can go from games where there is talking to games where there's no talking.
You're a professional.
Well, you know, it's not about words. Sometimes it's a little bit about magic.
Oh.
Do
you know what? We've just committed another cardinal podcast sin about whenever someone does a good segue, is then stopping to comment on the segue and ruining the segue.
I get that all the time.
I do it so much, and I know I've done it, and I can't stop myself. It's like, that was a good segue.
Oh, just no, what have I done?
Just
anyway.
two men doing a podcast talking about their segues.
And we don't even do that anymore, because we used to. And now we dropped it. I don't know why. Because you just evolve.
There's
You know,
not
you
enough.
kinda
There's not
move
enough podcasts doing intros about the fact there aren't enough podcasts.
Do you know what I mean? I've checked iTunes. Do you know what I did? Which was the... I thought, I'll change... For a laugh, I'll change podcast category
Okay.
in iTunes. I changed it from other games to hobbies.
Okay.
Because there's a couple of folk that I hang about with that I know. Polyhedron Collider, and there's a few others. Shut Up and Sit Down and everything are under hobbies instead of other games.
Okay.
But there's also like knitting ones.
Right.
So there's like
A
you look
knitting
on the
podcast?
iTunes. Yeah.
Okay.
I know. Who would have thought? Who would have thought it was a
How does
hobby?
that work?
I have no idea.
So I've got this pattern, right? And what it said to
Yeah.
use pink wool, but I actually used light red.
But maybe they're just talking about it. Maybe they're just talking about patterns of old and you know the new. Maybe there's
The oldie
maybe
cross
there's
stitch.
maybe there's a whole new hotness of knitting out there that nobody is aware about. Maybe it is like that. Well, do you know what? Board games, in terms, and I keep saying this, it's not accessible until you know how to get access to it.
True. Like
Because
knitting.
you stumbled through the door. Maybe there's an entire world of knitting that I'm just not aware of. That people are just doing stuff with
Maybe
needles.
there's like a whole like history section to it as well. Like maybe they go through knitting throughout the ages. Like there's a season on tapestry or something.
Could be knitting, making sweaters. How do you turn that heel? You know, how do you turn that? How do you turn that heel? Do you know
Knit
what I
one
mean?
or pearl one, the eternal choice.
It is the eternal choice. Do you know what I mean? Are you using? Where do you buy? Do you buy online? Do you go to the wool shop, the local wool shop? What kind of wool do you go for? You know, how do you keep up to date without looking chunky? You know,
Sheep's wool or
Aaron?
synthetic. Ooh.
Exactly, Aaron or not to Aaron? It's up to you.
Sorry,
There's a whole.
Aaron or Stephen.
Exactly. There's a whole. But anyway, so that's what I've noticed. There's like us, and then there's a knitting show, and then there was a like Polyhedron Collider, and then there was one on My Little Pony, and then there was a fishing show, and then I'm questioning myself because I'm thinking we're back in the wrong category, but it seems to be some of the bigger guys are in the same category.
Living
so I'm
in
just
hobbies.
thinking. Well, I'm just thinking, are we going up? You know, is there an? And then you get paranoid because you think, so there's a knitting show that's more popular than us. We must be rubbish.
You got to do your
You know?
research. Listen to it. They might have some good memes.
I'm going to go on and I'm going to listen to somebody. There's going to be somebody going, and the reason that we do this is because there's not enough podcasts out there about knitting. And I'm just going to go...
Two lovely grandmas sitting in a room knitting.
And here's our special guest, Owen Wilson.
Whoa.
Wow.
Whoa.
Well, I like to knit one and purl one. I don't know about yourself. We're not going to do any more Owen Wilson.
This is the worst segue. It's gone off the rails a bit, isn't it?
This has gone off the rails. Anyway, but besides Magic Maze.
Magic Maze. Guess what? Do you know what? I got this for Christmas as well. That's 3 for 3 so far. Woo.
That's pretty good.
This is the last one, though. This is the last one I got for Christmas.
Okay.
Again, saw it mentioned in, I think it was Tabletop Magazine, actually. When I was getting that really regularly, I was kind of going through and noting things in there that looked like there might be a laugh. And Magic Maze always came up. So I've got to get this. It's like a massive laugh. Have you played Magic Maze?
I had a shot of it, and I must admit that it didn't gel with me because it didn't work for me. There was a lot of staring. I'm not very good at subtlety.
Do you think it's about how much you can deal with the staring, or how comfortable you feel with staring into someone's eyes for a couple of minutes while they don't understand what you mean?
It was kind of like I was trying to do. It was kind of like, what was it? Because I didn't get it at the beginning. I was like, I've got something in my hair. Do I have got something in my teeth? I knew I ate kind of asparagus earlier on. Have I got a green bit in my teeth? Why are you looking at me?
What
and
did I
then
do?
at one point, they slammed down their token to say, like that, and not actually speaking. And I guess we should explain Magic Maze a bit.
Yeah, we've got to go a bit granular, aren't we? So I can explain it pretty easily. So the premise is you are a series of 4 heroes who have had your stuff nicked, or you haven't got any stuff. You need your stuff before you can go on your quest. So you go to the nearby fantasy shopping mall to go and nick some equipment and get out. But because it's a shopping mall, you have to be quiet. Because if you're shouting, you can't contact each other because you're trying to steal stuff. You can't be like, go nick that. So you're not allowed to actually talk in the game. You're not allowed to make any form of communication apart from putting a big red do something pawn in front of another player, or just staring at them. Just like really intensely staring. So the way it controls, you kind of build the map as you go. So you start off with one tile, and as you kind of move around, you kind of find more tiles and build it out. But each player, depending on how many players you've got, it scales from 2 to 7, I believe. 1 to 7 even, that's wrong. 1 to 7. So each player gets control of a different sort of action. So, for example, player 1 might be able to just move the pawns north.
Yes.
Player 2 might be able to just move them east and use the escalators. Player number 3 might be able to use the explore function, which adds tiles to the board. So each person gets their own thing they can do. So if you're in charge of up, and there's a pawn that needs to go up, and you haven't seen that needs to go up, all 3 members of your team will stare at you. Like, but you can't talk, you can't say anything, you have to stare until you understand. And because I think we weren't quite used to the mechanics, we did the thing where the first game you're allowed to talk. So we talked our way through it to get a handle on the mechanics. I think if we'd have gone in fresh, we'd have had no chance. But the second game we then shut up, and I found definite moments where we all sat there staring at each other like, what are we doing now? There's 3 tiles to put up, what do we do? We didn't see the rule whereby when you turn over the timer, you can talk. There's a timer.
Oh, right.
There's a timer as well, so you have a 3-minute egg timer. So you've got to go quick. You can't just stare at the board. You've got 3 minutes, and you can only flip it when you go on a red timer space. And then once you've done that once, that timer space stops working. So you have to put a token on there and turn it over and pay attention. But yeah, you're allowed to talk when the timer flips over, and until you move a piece. Once you've moved a piece, it's shut up again time. We found that really fun. I liked that bit. Yeah, our group didn't, like you say, didn't quite gel with it as much as I thought we would. I think because it was so different. Because you're not controlling a character, you're controlling a direction. You can move any character you want. Which is kind of why I don't think I could play this with my dad. Because he'd be like, am I the orange one? No.
Exactly.
You're in charge of
That's
up.
what I think.
I can move the orange one up. Yeah. But just the orange one? No.
No. You can.
Why not the orange one? Dad. I realise I'm now just apologising for a future dad. That might not even happen.
He might actually just get it.
Yeah, he's an idiot savant. He might.
You might just get it. You might just be besmirching his name, and I am using the word besmirch.
Besmirch, good.
And and actually making him out that he's not going to be able to grasp this, and this might be his game.
He's pretty incredible because he's not good at the talking, but he might be good at just moving things around by staring.
He just might be sitting there going, "Ing,
ing." You can't talk. Every gesture he says is just ing, ing with his eyes.
It'll be big when he gets his 3 minutes to talk.
Yeah.
Ing, 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 ing.
Ing, 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 ing. Dad.
No, I tried it. I wasn't sure about it, and then I read who was it? Meeple Like Us did an accessibility thing on it, and they just says I kind of get the premise of the game, but I don't understand in a social environment situation why you would want to sit there in complete silence, because it's very, very difficult as a game to be able to do that when you're trying to communicate. So I don't know. I probably would play it again. I think it could be fun. I think it could be a lot of fun depending on the type of people.
You got to have people that are kind of going to sound mean. I'm sorry, Laura. She's behind me. She probably can't hear. She's got her earphones in. I think the thing with Magic Maze is you've got to be like really, really like awake and paying attention. You've got to be watching that board like a hawk. And if it's been like in the evening and you're kind of like 10 o'clock at night and you've had a couple of beers and you're like, I can't see it. I don't know what they want from me. I have one control. I can move things up. I can't see anything that would go up that would benefit us. But why are they putting the pawn in front of me and staring? What do they want from me? Are those moments of nothing where you kind of explore a little bit and then no one's quite sure what to do, and then for like 10 seconds you'll all just stare at each other like, what? Which I think is where those moments of flipping the timer come in handy, because you can then talk to each other and go, right, we need to get the orange one to that space to get that door open, we need to get the purple one over there, the one over there, and then when we've done that, we'll go straight to the exit. So you okay? Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. There's an added complication as you go as well, so it kind of layers the rules up. So you start off quite simple, then as you go it adds on extra elements. So I think on the second game it adds on exits for each individual character. So you've got to get the orange one to the orange exit, the yellow one to the yellow exit. I think the third game adds timer flipping. So when you flip the timer, everyone passes their card to the left. So instead of moving north, the person to your left will now control north. You now get, I don't know, left and elevators or whatever comes around your way. That was confusing. That hurt the brain quite a bit. I liked it. And I've read like some of the further on rules as well, where each character get their own thing they can do. So like the thief can explore faster, or the dwarf can kind of go through little orange like mouse holes that no one else can. And how are we going to keep all that straight? I don't know.
It won awards though. I mean, it won awards. I think it was nominated for a few awards, and I think it definitely won a category in awards as well, which I was kind of like, But I don't know if it was because of the silence thing being a slight, maybe a gimmick, I don't know.
I think the silence, combined with stifled giggling, was quite funny when we played. You just hear people going,
I would just be rolling my eyes kind of repeatedly all the time. I wouldn't be staring, I would just be like...
Please do the thing. Please do the thing I want you to do. Do the thing. Please.
What's that?
Terrible. Do excuse us. Laura's controller has ran out, so the sound is playing out for TV right now. My apologies.
It's okay.
And we're back. There we go.
There we go.
Professionals we are.
So let me just... No, I'm not going to edit that out. That could stay in. Laura's got to appear. Tell Laura to come over and say hello just for 2 seconds.
Laura?
Just so she can
say hello. Say hello for a second.
What?
You've been told to come. She's coming over. She's on the way.
Hey.
She's on the way. I'll give her an earphone so she can hear you. You're on a podcast. Say hello.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Laura. You are fabulous. I'd just like to say that.
Oh, thank you. Well, it's nice for someone to say it once in a while.
Ooh, okay.
She's so mean all the time.
I'm
Every
not,
time we're on
I'm
anything,
not,
she's
I'm
like,
not,
"Did you watch
I'm
some of my
lovely.
Bro videos?" She just slags me off all the time.
Yeah, I did. I watched the majority of them, to be perfectly honest, because I was enraptured, and they were absolutely fantastic viewing. So everybody should be watching them because they are absolutely brilliant. Yes, you're gonna. I don't know. She's going to hell for that one.
Yeah. What do you think
anyway,
about Magic Maze, Laura?
I didn't like it.
Good.
I didn't like it.
See, it was too. I liked the silence. You didn't, did you?
No.
Did it hurt your head?
It just. I get the idea and everything. I just didn't think, because each kind of round we had, we were trying to add in a new rule and whatever, and it's just like, just
Ugh.
I've got other games I'd rather play.
Laura's review. Ugh. Out of 10.
That'll do. That's good enough for me.
You can go back to your anime now, Laura.
Go back to my anime now.
Cool.
Cool. Bye.
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 Do you know, I think that's the first time Laura's actually been on a proper podcast that I've been on ever. She
Really?
said "woo" in the background a couple of times, and again insulted me from a distance. But I think that's the first time she's ever actually appeared.
She'll need to actually come on properly in an official capacity.
And she was speaking all kind of posh. And, oh yes, thank you. She was putting on her posh voice, her phone voice, not just shouting knobhead from a distance like she usually does.
You're gonna totally actually get in so much trouble. There's gonna be like words in the car. You better go and hide yourself in some kind of cave until this all kind of blows over.
I'm going to just hide upstairs. Well, the theory is I'm working at the minute on trying to get my laptop working so I can go upstairs and record upstairs so I can go in another room. And then I haven't got heckling and rats fighting in the background the entire time. This is just a bad recording room. It's not a quiet room.
It's fine. It's fine. All these kind of like lovely interruptions, interactions, we kind of live for them. However...
Interrupt your actions.
Interrupt your actions, indeed. You played, and I had segued this, but you completely ignored it because I said you better go and hide in a cave until this all blows over.
Oh, that was a subtle one. Yeah, I didn't get that.
Very subtle one.
Oh,
no,
that
you
was too
didn't
subtle.
Get that one at
Wasn't
all.
there for that. Do it again.
What did you think?
Do it again.
Okay.
Laura's beating me up a bit at the minute.
Oh dear. Well, you better go and hide in a cave until this all blows over.
What, like that game that I played?
Yes.
Oh, that was
Terra.
good. Really subtle. Well done.
What did you think of it?
Terra. I liked Terra. I don't think we quite got the measure of it until our second or third game of it, but I did like it. Have you played it?
Yes, I have.
Good. So Terra is it's a dungeon crawling mining type survive game where you've fallen down a big hole and you've got to get out of the big hole. I mean, that's about it, isn't it, really?
That is kind of it. There's obviously the night terrors, and there's crossing all the water, and there's the torch eventually running out, and there's a possibility that you're all going to die.
Yep, floods,
during
gas,
the game, floods, and
rock
and
slides,
gas and everything like that. Did you? What version did you go for? Did you go for the kind of the entry level version, or did you go for a kind of a reasonable chunk? Because there was ones that had like lots of lovely miniatures in them, and there was ones which were just like the pawns.
Okay, so
be careful.
I went for. I got it on Kickstarter. I think I went for the regular edition, so on without the printed like the minis. I got the ones that were just pawns. But I did get the extra add-on packs for it. So there's 3 extra boxes you can get, with like the excavation mode and the eradication mode. Like there's other modes you can play, which we've not cracked yet. I've had a quick look in the boxes; they look kind of fun, but we've not beaten the main game yet. So we're kind of going to get better at that first before we look at doing the side scenarios. I think
it's kind of funny because the game, in terms of the size of the spaces, sometimes if you've got like lots and lots of players, having the miniatures there can overcrowd the spaces.
I can see that actually. Yeah, no, we had problems enough with just the little pawns every now and again. Like, which one am I on?
The little pawns were. I think. Do you know what it was? It was a nice little additional kind of production thing. I liked the game when I played it because I liked the exploration side of things, and I think the only thing that became very difficult was when you had lots of little terrors.
Yeah, those things are a pain. Like, I think we got our first game, we got lucky with those. It was more the environment that was getting us, like the rock slides and stuff. Yeah. Like, I was basically drawn to any rock that was falling. I would make sure I was stood under it just to make sure that it really wanged me in the head good.
I just want to check if my helmet works.
Yeah. Oh, ow. No, it doesn't. We played it. I've played it 4-player. And I like it. I like the push your luck mechanic of like exploring, because you can you have two action points per round, don't you? And you can use those to explore or to move. And if you're feeling cocky, you can explore and move. So you can literally open up a new tile and go straight into it. But if it's a bad tile, the bad thing happens immediately. Whereas if you're exploring one by one, if you open up a tile that contains a flood or it contains a big horrible rock slide, you haven't got to walk into it unless you think you can handle it. And then I think you can then, if you roll, you can roll for a third action. But if you fail, you lose a hit point for exhausting yourself.
Yeah.
I love the little custom dice as well. Like each character gets their own colour of dice.
Yeah, it was. I mean, there was a lot to like. There was a lot to like of it. There's an awful lot to like about it. I think it fell. The game itself fell to a lot of bitterness. You know, there was a lot of animosity about people getting the game, which kind of, and the game itself is really, really good fun. And I kind of enjoyed it.
Delivered in a weird thing on Kickstarter where some people got it and some didn't. Yeah. I saw some talk on the thing about that, and it's quite upsetting actually because I got mine pretty good time. I was like, is there a problem? It's fine, isn't it?
I think it was the guys. Yeah, I think it was the guys in America. I think it's like scaling up to the size of the business that kind of like gets that kind of quite big. We actually had Peter Blenkern, who runs Inside the Box board games, to kind of come on and chat about it, and it just turned out it's like if there was going to be something that was going to happen to a campaign, it seemed to happen to him all the way through.
Oh no!
So it's like one thing after another with people kind of shipments kind of not going astray or not going to plan or being late and all these kind of things. But as a game, it's kind of like a damn good bit of fun. But it's kind of been crowded. It's kind of been, I guess, tarred with a kind of a this isn't a good game.
Negative press because of the...
because of the fulfillment.
That's really unfair, because the game's great. I really like the game. Mm-hmm. It's come out really well. It's really well produced. Like the cards are all gorgeous. Those little custom dice that are all different colours, and like matching them up to the different characters. Like, oh, this is the one for the secret character with the flashlight because it's black, and this is the one for the soldier because it's dark red. And like everyone liked having their own colour dice. It was a little silly thing. They were like, oh, it's my dice. I'm the yellow character.
Yeah, and it's like that little sense of ownership that you get. You're like, well, this is mine. I'll have that.
Yeah,
and you can't roll that dice. This is definitely kind of my kind of guys. I need to see, because I'm interested to see kind of what they're going to be doing next, kind of game wise. I don't know what's happening in the Kickstarter side of things. They did have another game that was coming out, but I think they
released it and cancelled it, didn't they? Until this had been sorted.
They did, yeah.
Which is actually quite brave, I think, of saying, no, all right, we're going to fix this problem first, then do the next one. I think that was only fair.
Yeah, I think it would make for a difficult thing kind of commercially, which is kind of interesting.
And
but
by
that's
the time that's come out, I might have beaten the game once, because so far I've not managed to beat it. It's really hard.
Have you not?
It's hard.
I think
maybe our team aren't very good, because we've noticed that if you split up, you lose. Because if you fall down, someone's got to then get to you to wake you up, and that might be 4 turns away by that point. Like, the dungeons can sprawl really far. And yeah, we kind of found that we either were staying in pairs of 2, like two teams of 2, which was going okay to a point, and then the horrors and the map starts closing in on you, like, oh shit, here we go. And then we tried to go off our own way and explore as much as we could, as fast as we could. We just found that we got attacked and stuck, or like rocks would fall on us. And right, well, I'm dead under some rocks. Can someone come get me in 8 turns, please?
Yeah, I think we discovered really quickly that you could only really stay together if you wanted to kind of like stay alive, and that the horrors were like, they were kind of like game enders for a lot of the time, and it also depends on the number of players that you have, because that can make a kind of a big difference.
Yeah, which characters you pick as well, because each character has their own abilities as well. Because I think we had a really easy to deal with horrors in our first run, because I think I had the spy or the secret, the one with the flashlight as their tool, so horrors don't get them.
Yes,
and they're immune to horrors. And we had like the soldier, I think, who can shoot them or like defend against them, and then a medic who can patch you up if you get got. Like, it was all in all just like really well suited team to deal with horrors. But our next game was not that. We got bitten and chomped quite a bit. It was very bad.
I mean, is there any other games that you are wanting to get your hands on?
There's one. Well, there's one that I did want to get my hands on. I've decided not to get my hands on now.
All right.
Well, I kickstarted the Resi 2 game. Because we were talking about it last time I was on. It hadn't come out yet, but it was being teased. And I was there when it went up. And like the 5 minutes after it had gone, I was like, I'm never here this early. I can get the early bird discount and save $10, whatever it was. I was like, well, go on then. And I clicked the button and I got it done, and then promptly forgot about it. 3 months passed, and I realised I'd missed the backer kit survey. I was like, oh crap, I don't think I actually want this anymore. Like, I've kind of seen a few videos of it and a couple of like things. It looked a bit like the Dark Souls game, but kind of I've got one of those now, and the minis were okay, but they weren't really standing out to me. And I kind of decided, I don't think I'm going to keep this. Like, I did try and say, look, can I get it cancelled or anything? And it was too late by that point, which is fair enough. I didn't expect them to, but it was worth a try. So I've decided, well, when it turns up, we'll see what it's like when it comes. I might just sell it when it turns up rather than spend another £100 in a game that I'm not going to play. Because we're still trying to get through Gloomhaven at the moment, and it's you have to kind of give yourself a couple of nights to kind of get a decent chunk of the game done, because it's quite a big setup, and it's good once it's set up, but you need that time and that space to do it. And are we going to squeeze Resi 2 in when we only play the Dark Souls game together once every 6 months? Probably not. So I kind of decided I'm going to get rid of it, which is fine. And then got twigged on something online, the Hellboy Kickstarter.
Yes.
Oh my god, those miniatures look incredible.
Yes, they do.
They love
them. Fantastic.
I like Hellboy a lot. I've read most of the comic stuff and really enjoyed it. I love that sort of style of comic as well. That sort of chunky, quite wisecracky, but like not in a wink nudge way, just in a smart ass way. I like that all the characters seem quite, realistic in a way, I suppose. Like they're just people who make mistakes and cock things up every now and again. The things they fight are always kind of these big sort of, classic old sort of European sort of monsters like frogmen and tentacle things and just horror beasts. It's always been quite entertaining. I've loved the comics, and seeing the Kickstarter go up, it's like, oh, the minis look really nice. That was the thing that first drew me to it. Like the actual minis look gorgeous. Like, they look really good. They've captured the style of them really well. They look quite a lot like the comic counterparts. They're really well modelled. The ones they had on the thing had really well painted as well. And I sort of dug into what the game was, and again, it's almost I suppose dungeon crawler where you kind of move through an environment and you've got a case file, and you have to find clues to deal with the incoming doom, and it has a separate clue counter and doom tracker. And if the doom counter goes too high, then things kick off. But if you get the clues in higher beforehand, then things don't get quite so bad, and you've got to kind of balance the two bars to get it done. And everything I've seen in the game, it just looks like a fun game, and it looks a bit different to the Dark Souls one. It's more case file based rather than randomised dungeon each time. And the amount of stuff they're putting in that £90 box is frankly obscene. There's 116 miniatures in that game now. 116.
It's just, I mean,
ridiculous.
And then to put it into perspective, you can be paying. You're going for the Games Workshop stuff, you don't get that much. I mean, there's like, if you're looking at, your Shade Spires of this world, or, I mean, you're paying a small fortune for not as many miniatures in that. And I think that's just the way that Steamforged do it. I mean, they ended up, it ended up on almost 1.5 million.
It did, yeah.
Which I'm surprised. I was expecting kind of like a little bit more. And I don't know why, because I really liked it because of the artwork. As you know, I'm a sucker for artwork. If I see something, I like the fact it was in. They could have gone two ways with this. They could have gone the let's do it like the film, which would have been acceptable.
Been fine. Yeah, I like the films.
Del Toro did a fantastic job, as far as I'm concerned, of putting that onto the silver screen, and did a fun job with it. And I really, really liked it. Even I liked the Golden Army. I'm going to say that.
I liked it as well.
I thought it was a good film. If it's on, I'm going to watch it again. I don't own a copy of the film, but if it came on, I'd be considering that a night well spent if I was tucked up again and was watching, if I was watching Ron Perlman doing his thing.
I could watch Ron Perlman do his thing all day. I love Ron Perlman.
He's fantastic.
He'd have made a great Judge Dredd. What a chin.
I don't know. I'm still convinced that Carl Urban is doing a good job as Dredd.
Carl Urban is fantastic. I'm not going to argue that. But when you see Dredd's chin, it's like, that is Ron Perlman's chin.
That's Ron Perlman's
That is a chin. That is a granite slab of a chin right there.
Could you give him Ron Perlman's chin? Could you just give him it back, please? No, thank you.
Someone in the comics, there was a thing in the comics once where someone faked his way in. He pretended to be Judge Dredd by putting a fake chin on his own chin. And it kind of just comes off on like elastic on the sides, like,
so forgot that you're such a big Judge Dredd.
I love those comics. They're such weirdness. I love them. I'm kind of amazed there's not been a Judge Dredd like board game type thing in Mega City 1 yet. I know there's a few like gang fight ones. There's ones where you fight the judges versus the gangs. And I know there's a card game coming out about block wars, where you have to kind of fight between two different, like a fight between two city blocks, and then the judges can turn up in the middle and kind of shut you down. And each card you have on the table represents a window. And you're sort of shooting out of a window, which is kind of cool. I like it. But I'd love to see like a proper kind of like, you know, crawling through a city block with a couple of judges, you know, sort of scouring through, taking out bad guys. I'd really enjoy that. And with the sort of the level of content, that those games, the universe has, you know, that the comics have, you could do so much weird stuff with it. You could do, you know, block wars with it. You know, you've got teams of people hating each other. You could do the story where the entire inhabitants of a block turn into monkeys because someone was making a de-evolutionizing serum that somehow got in the vent.
Oh dear, that always reminds me of that Spider-Man thing. You can change DNA. You don't have to change people with the dinosaurs.
Yeah,
you could cure cancer, but I like changing people into dinosaurs.
I really like and any stuff like that. Like Spider-Man, the season 2 of Spider-Man was all about turning people into animals. The cartoon, I mean, from the 90s, with the neogenic recombinator.
When did they come up with a name like that?
It's so good, and it sticks in your brain. It's never left me.
It's never going to go out. You've probably lost an important kind of brain function.
Yeah.
You're gonna be like, no, all I need to do is if I can just sew this, put the thread in this needle, I can save this person's life. Oh no, I've learned this word instead. It's not working. Oh no, my hand-eye coordination's gone to shit. Everybody's gonna die.
Damn you, neogenic recombinator.
Owen Wilson comes up behind and goes, wow.
So yeah, back to Hellboy. I get the amount of content they're putting in. Like, there's loads of different scenarios. There's loads of like characters from the comic. Like, they're not even kind of picking from the films. They're picking like really kind of interesting characters and interesting stories and plots from the comic as well. And the minis they're releasing. And there's a couple of bonus packs you can buy now as well, where like Hellboy in Mexico, where it's him and 3 clone things dressed up like luchadors taking on, I think, a Chupacabra beast, and it looks really nice.
But that's confidence in the license itself, because as I say, they could have gone the easy, let's go to the film thing, and then they're like, well, actually, let's actually play proper homage to the comics. And if you look at the artwork in the game, the floor tiles and everything like that, it looks proper comic-y like. It looks like they've got the feel, they've got that beautiful use of black all the way through.
Dark and chunky is how we've always described Hellboy.
It's absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
And all the cards have all the art on as well, like the deck of doom you use to kind of turn a card over and make a bad thing happen. Like, every single one of them's got like a cool comic panel on it or something I recognise in the comics. It's like, that's really, really well done. Oh,
I want it, but I can't, because I'm potentially moving house, and that's going to cost money, and I can't. Kind of.
You could build a house out of all the board games you bought on Kickstarter. It would probably be cheaper.
I know, potentially.
But the only reason I was allowed to buy this, and yeah, Laura will back me up. I wanted it, but the only reason Laura allowed me, and I allowed myself to buy it, is that I'd get rid of the Resi game. Like, I just don't have enough space in my life for games of that size anymore. More than 3 or 4 of them, and I've got Gloomhaven, I've got the Dark Souls one. I don't need 4 giant boxes that I'm only going to play once every 3 months. I had to make a decision, and I think if anyone wants to buy a copy of Resi 2 when it comes out,
yeah. You just flip it.
Thanks for listening to my extended advert for my copy of my eBay listing of Resident Evil 2.
You don't. You can put it on You can put it on. There's a Facebook group for selling games, and you see people that have basically got the game, and it's not even out the cardboard that it's been delivered in.
As much as it was upsetting, I'd love to have that bit where you pop all the cardboard out of the punch boards, but no.
You got to keep it sealed if you want to sell it, and you can probably flip it for a good money, because there'll be people that'll be willing to pay it.
I've always been if it's worth the loss of money I'd get on selling the game for the satisfaction I get of popping all the cardboard out. How much is that worth to me?
But you could just go and buy a cheap game and just pop all the stuff out of that.
Yeah, but high quality cardboard though. Ooh, the poot. Just a little poot.
I suppose. And then you can make it challenging, because you can go through and work through all your fingers, and you can say, right, this This is my index finger's quite strong, middle finger's quite strong, ring finger's quite strong. Oh, pinky. Pinky's a bit weak. I'll need to build on that. And you could do like a training video of you trying to pop out cardboard with your pinky and failing and doing like a training montage.
Rising up,
Or
back on the street. Just sort of poking ineffectually at it, like, no!
just like that. Just like that, yeah. Just
Then
and
it
then
cuts
what
to
you
a
do is you
close-up
work-
shot where I've got like a cocktail stick with marshmallows on the end, and we're doing barbell push-ups just with a little
lifting
finger.
it up like that, yeah. And then you get to the point where you're like, you just see you gracefully running out of Tesco's with like 2 shopping bags in each of your pinkies, and you're running and you're running and you're lifting it above your head,
Running up the stairs.
and running up the stairs to the top with pinkies in both hands, having successfully lifted the shopping. And then it cuts back to you just like it's complete silence. And you've stripped off down to the waist, and there's a slight sweat on your brow as you take your pinky and you've lined up 3 punch boards all at once.
And it's the most giant pinky you've ever seen. It's like a thumb at this point. It's enormous.
It's like a leg.
And as I punch
It's
through
like
all
a
3
leg.
balls at once, the cardboard
just like
pieces
that.
shoot out and land in the sun.
Embedded at the wall. And you turn round and you've got the Bruce Lee face on. And you're going... And then it leads on to a whole One Finger anime series with a spin-off.
One finger
And
man.
Q5 years later, and you're in your own board game. And one of the stretch goals is an actual finger
Oh.
that you can put over your own finger that looks like a leg.
Foot on the head.
Fuck, that's just ridiculous. Speaking of comics, you reading any comics?
How
at the
did we
moment?
get there? Just trying to trace back how we got there, and I can't remember how we were doing.
You gotta know when to hold them. Know when to fold them.
No. Comics. Am I reading any comics? Am I reading any comics? I'm reading a lot of books at the minute. Actually, I'm not reading much comics. I mean, I've always got Dread on the go at any point, which is just that's what I am. I'm reading a fair few books.
Yeah.
I'm going through the Discworld books again, the Terry Pratchett ones.
Really?
Because I love those books. I love them to pieces. And God, here we go. For Christmas, mother-in-law got me the last one. And I've kind of... It's going to sound really bad. I've not quite been brave enough to read it yet. Because...
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, I was really upset when Terry Pratchett died.
Is that the one with... Is that the Granny Weatherwax one?
Yeah, it's one of the old Tiffany ones. Sort of the young witch in training. And I just...
Tiffany Aching.
That's the one, yeah. And I just haven't been brave enough to sort of like, do you know what? I want to read them all again first before I get there. Like, I want to give this its proper dues. Like, I love that. They're a big part of growing up. Yeah, when I was sort of 11 or 12, Mum started working at a library, and that was one of the first things I got out of the library. I think I got a copy of, I think it was Mort was the first one I read. About a young
Mort was
kid
so good.
who becomes Death's apprentice.
Yes, that was so good.
Love that book.
That was so...
Remains one of my
And
favourites still. Like, remains... I think your first one's always one of your favourite ones. So I've been reading through... I think I've got up to Weird Sisters, which is the sixth one. But I'm kind of going through bit by bit.
Weird Sisters is the take on Macbeth.
Yes, I think so.
And it's got a brilliant line in it about the king saying that his fingers were covered in bandages and he still couldn't get the blood off his fingers, and he was going to try the cheese grater tonight. And I just thought, that's amazing. That's so kind of evocative. My favourite book in the Discworld series is probably Nightwatch.
Yes! I hoped you were going to say that. I really hope. I've read that book about 7 times. I love it.
I've got to the point where I have read. I read that book and then I'll go away from it for a couple of months, and then I'll come back and I'll just read it again, and it's still very, very. I love it.
Yeah.
I just love its kind of peak. It was the height of him at his kind of powers and everything that he was doing, and everything just flowed, and it just rolled, and it made sense, and it was just really passionate, and I just love everything. I love the witches stuff. I would go back and read that. I think the Lords and Ladies, the one with the elves. was a really, really good one. And I liked all of the Witches ones, actually. I thought they were really, really good. But
They're the ones that
Nightwatch-
don't often hit for me, actually. The Witches ones don't tend to hit. I'm a Rincewind man. I've always been a Rincewind man. I love him so very much. He's a cowardly piece of crap, and I love him.
Just can't believe you're kind of bringing that.
Yeah, sorry.
That in. No, anyway, I was introduced to, after a discussion that I had with Jesse, who is a filthy wizard, and talked about Age of Ultron, and they said at the time they almost walked out of it because they thought of the treatment of Clint Barton was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been reading Hawkeye, My Life as a Weapon.
Isn't it good?
And just after reading, I kind of went, I'll give it a try. And then the artwork caught me because, as I keep saying, I'm an art guy. And then it's the whole thing, and I'm just like reading something. I'm going, this isn't Hawkeye. I was expecting something different. And there's a whole thing of him and Kate, just him going through his different kind of armor and his different kind of arrows, and saying, she goes, what's this one? It's like it's a boomerang. Says, why do you want a boomerang? Because they come back. Can remember the boomerang, respect the boomerang.
And isn't that like, shot later on in that particular issue of the comic where they then use all of them?
He's all of them during the car chase.
Yeah.
And then the last one, she goes like, because he's got a gun pointed at whatever. I'm going to spoil it. But he ends up like using that arrow in order to save the day. He turns around and goes, remember, boomerang.
Yeah.
It's just like, I was like, okay, so I read that, and then I read the second part, and then I'm just like sad because I realised that, that the Hawkeye that I thought I knew from the Avengers films is actually a lie. It's crap.
Different universe. It's okay. He's the same character, but different universe. They'll meld them together in a while. Don't worry.
No,
There'll be an event.
I just can't believe it. I'm just like so totally disappointed. So I read that, and I finished off Batman White Knight.
Oh, I've not read any of that. I've heard it's incredible.
That's so good. That is so good. I mean, I know we're moving away from cardboard, but it's my show, so...
Well, they're printed on paper, which is almost cardboard.
They are kind of printed on paper. It is it's pressed and printed trays. So, yeah, I mean, come at me with your internet-y fire, people. Yeah, but I read that, and that is incredible. That is definitely worthwhile. It's worthwhile reading it just for the last panel. The last panel alone, I just went, whoa!
I love that kind of noise.
Oh, it's just, whoa! No, it was that. It was like, yes. And it was like, no. Because the kind of the premise behind it, quite simply, is that the Joker's cured.
Yeah. That bit I know.
And then,
yeah.
And then he turns around, and he says, "Oh, hang on, are the citizens of Gotham actually paying for all of the damage that Batman does when he's chasing supervillains about?" So it kind of like it completely tries to turn it on his head, and he's like trying to prove himself to be who he is, and it's just fantastic. It's just worthwhile. I devoured that, and kind of like as soon as it came out.
I've heard nothing but good things. Like I've nothing but things about it.
So it's just I got it on Comixology, and it was one of these things that it was like kind of I read it, and I was lucky I read it until the last issue was coming out this month, I think, and then the rest of it had been out before. So you know what you do is like Comixology is awful, terrible thing, but you were kind of like reading the whole thing through with the guided view thing that they've got, so you can just flick through and it takes you through the panels, and it's really, really nice way to kind of just sit back. You can just read it on your phone, and it's really, really cool. But then it gets to the end, and it's like, do you want to buy the next one for like $2.99? I was like, yes. Press the button all the way through, but it's definitely kind of worthwhile.
Oh, that's right. So I haven't read much of the big two in a long time. I'm a 2000 AD man now, through and through.
Yeah.
And I like buying my weird sort of alternative-y type comics you find here and there as well.
Yeah.
I read a really great thing a couple of months ago called Day Tripper, which is, I don't know who it was published by, but it's a story about a guy, and by the end of the first, it's about sort of 7 or 8 stories of there in there, and at the end of the first story, he dies. And then we carry on, but he's back alive again, and he's a different age, and then he dies in a different way, and then he's a different age, and he dies in a different way. And it's like, I wasn't quite sure what it was at the start, but it was really poignant, like really just like nice, really kind of very low key almost.
Is this the one that says Bras de Olivia Domingos?
That's the one. Yep, that's the one.
Oh, don't. Oh, you've got the collected editions.
I found it in a charity shop for like £1.
Really?
Yeah.
It's like the whole thing is like £7 on Comixology.
It's great. It's really good. I liked
Is
it.
it?
It's very poignant. It's not quite what I expected it was going to be, but I did enjoy it. I just sat there one night in my special library room where all my comics live, and I just sat and just read through the whole thing, and then went to bed a bit sad. So
I've kind of I've kind of got back into kind of like the comics. I don't know why. I think it's because for me I kind of gone off Netflix a bit.
okay,
Yeah,
I can see that.
I kind of you know what, I kind of lined up a whole load of great shows to kind of watch, and then I was kind of like, well, I watched Discovery and I really liked Discovery, and then I watched Luke Cage, and I ended up skipping through some of Luke Cage. And
This is my problem with Netflix shows. A lot of them, they're just so long. They're just so long, and I don't have the energy to watch that sort of thing. I usually watch, when we get home from work, we'll put the telly on and we'll watch something on Netflix or Crunchyroll for the anime quite a lot these days.
yeah.
Like, we've been watching some really good stuff on Crunchy. Food Wars, otherwise known as Shokugeki no Soma. Oh my god, Food Wars is one of the best shows I've seen in a very long time, and it's about a cooking school.
I need to watch it because I got my son a sub for Crunchyroll because he said, I said, what do you want for your birthday? And he went, I don't know. I said, I could buy you some shit. And he went, no, Dad, could you buy me something else? I went, I could get you a subscription to Crunchyroll and just pay it for you on a month-by-month basis. And he went, I'll take that then. So, of course, all that means is that I have accidentally now got Crunchyroll on my PlayStation 4 and can watch all the stuff on there as well, which is kind of nice.
Oh my! We'll have a separate chat when we finish recording because there's so much I need to recommend to you. Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
You need to send that through to me.
One of us.
I know, but I've also been reading Miss Marvel.
Ooh,
which is quite good.
Yeah,
which is it's really kind of different. It's kind of like I just kind of was reading Batman. I went, I'll read Batman. Yeah, Batman's my comfort blanket because I was like a pure Batman fiend during the kind of the 90s from the 90s kind of for the 10 years, and then I kind of walked away from it, and then I'm kind of back again kind of reading stuff, and that's why I've kind of read Batman Metal and went, okay, fine. And then read White Knight and went, oh. But now I'm also looking at Loki, Agent of Asgard, which is really strange.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk about that anymore, but it's good fun. But if it's kind of like really kind of got back into... As I say, Netflix, I'm kind of getting a bit bored because I've not got the time to invest in watching an entire series of 13 episodes of a programme only to discover that 7 of them are filler.
Yeah.
Is that cruel?
And they're all an hour long.
Yeah, and it's kind of like...
Make shows short again. Here's a good one on Netflix, The Good Place. Really well put together. Really well paced, really, really fun.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. We devoured that in about 2 weeks. Oh, what a show.
So, I've been...
But it's the rare one-off in a sea of long...
I've heard other people talking about other things like the Santa Clara diet and stuff like that, and then there's the old things, and I'm just kind of like, I don't want to sit in front... Do you know what it is? I've got quite a low attention span sometimes, and I'm aware that I've got other things to do constantly. I've got a to-do list about a mile long of other things that I need to be doing, and then I sit and I get restless if I'm watching a Netflix show because I think you're just putting script at me for the sake of having script, and I don't see character development, and I know you've just put, as I say, it's like 7 out of 13, and I'm just like, I don't want 7 out of 13. Give me 7 shows, and just then, Anyway. That's beside the point. I'm just trying to think, are there things coming up? There's lots of other things kind of coming up that I'm kind of looking forward to potentially on Kickstarter. I guess Mark at Wreck and Ruin, who is Dream Big Games, has released Wreck and Ruin again on Kickstarter, and it looks like he's over 50% funded, so I'm hoping that this time it funds, because that would be fantastic. There's a few other games coming up in Kickstarter who people are going to be coming on. I just had a chat recently with Joseph Chen, who has got Fantastic Factories, which is out on Kickstarter just now, so that is all.
I was looking
good,
at that before I got on.
I've just spoken to him, and he's an absolutely fantastic chat, and we had a chat, and he had a really good chat, and the game looks like it's an awful lot of fun, and it's funding kind of really, really well, and it's also ridiculously inexpensive considering it to the dollar down to the pound. It's going to be about 23 quid.
It's not bad.
Well, compared to what you would get with, like, you know, your big box games, it's, you know, it kind of. We obviously can't put an endorsement out there. We're definitely saying at the moment, you know, we can't do that. But yeah, I just finished chatting to him, and he's just like a really, really top guy, and we had a really, really good chat, and we started actually talking about his game. 51 minutes into the conversation, which is, I think, a new personal best. Going off on different tangents. No, but we have lots of content. I think we should draw. I think probably I need to thank you for coming on, sir.
You don't need to thank me.
You have been marvellous and wonderful and just caused lots of wows everywhere.
I just have this wherever I go. That's what you get when you're viral like I am.
I'm viral as well.
Yeah.
We've got a viral tweet.
We've viraled.
We're just vile. Vile bloods. Where can we find you on the internet webs?
You just shouldn't. You really shouldn't. You can find me. You can find me on the Twitter, which is pretty much the only social network that I use. What's Instagram? You can find me there at Paddy Stardust, where I will be posting things about Dark Souls Remaster, because I'm playing that at the moment. Anything that takes my fancy. Any new weird videos we put up, I tend to put up there as well. And of course, anything to do with the podcast, which is called Twin Humanities. You can find that on the Twitter at Twin Humanities, which I do with my lovely friend CJ, where we talk about the Dark Souls. And then we have a second show called Oh the Humanities, where we talk about everything else, but that's all on one feed on the podcast app, so it's easy to find. We have quite diverse tastes. We don't tend to play the same things at the same time, so it always ends up a bit of a weird divide in our shows, but we enjoy that. And we have a lot of fun with it. It's good laugh. We're on YouTube as well. I think it's at Twin Humanities. I think it's YouTube/Twin Humanities Pod. But if you just put that in YouTube, you'll find us very, 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 very easily.
I'm going to say something very, very, very important to this, is that make sure you check out this show, because it's not just, has everybody played God of War?
Oh, we hate that.
What do you think of What do you think of God of War? Oh, I like God of War. Next podcast. What do you think of God of War? Oh, that's good. Like that. Your Game of the Year podcast is the only Game of the Year podcast you should be listening to about video games, because at least you find out about games that weren't fed through the PR machine.
I put a PS2 game on my list this year.
Yeah,
I almost put Gloomhaven on it.
They'll listen to it because it's a fantastic show, and especially you learn so much from CJ regarding just kind of like the Kamen Rider stuff that he loves.
He's too clever, that's the thing. He's too good at his words. I think he plans what he's going to say to make himself sound cleverer than he actually is.
No.
I reckon he writes it down secretly, and then I just turn up and say words. I don't generally write notes. I wrote more for today than I have in a very long time. The general rule is if I'm on someone else's show, I'll write a lot of notes because I want to look smart. When I went on Sound of Play, the Kane and Rince music one, I was on that quite early. I wrote about 6 dense pages of notes just to make sure I'd sound clever. But yeah, no, I love recording with CJ. He's way smarter than I am, and we always have fun.
Yeah, and it's definitely worth a listen. And it's worth stop now, pause the podcast, go and find Twin Humanities.
Good time to jump on, because E3 in about 2 weeks, and traditionally, every E3, we, with James Carter from Kane and Rince, always joins us, we tend to record, I think last year it was 14 hours worth of podcast about the E3.
It's all good way.
It's a lot. It was a lot.
You've got your holidays coming up and you've got a beach kind of thing. You're just going to be wrecking about, maybe working on your garden. You've got 14 hours to spare, then jump on and listen to it, because that's what we're saying.
Baseless speculation for 14 hours. Just jump on.
It's fantastic.
It's always a good time, and it doesn't feel like 14 hours. It does by the time I finish editing it, but it never feels like it when we're recording it. So and we split it up. It's not one pod. We do like one show, then another show, then another show. So we're not that silly.
Very, very, very good indeed. If you want to keep an eye on what we're up to, go to Google, search We're Not Wizards, you'll find us. Twitter, Facebook, stuff, things, places. We put the links on everywhere. You can check them out, and we appreciate every single person that has recently been downloading and listening and getting in contact with us and saying hello, and you're all fabulous and wonderful, and we really appreciate everybody who decides to support us, because just reaching out and saying hello to somebody is a very, very cool thing to do if they're a content creator. I just love it. Makes me smile and happy.
Those nice comments are the best thing, aren't they? When someone just says, "Oh, I like what that was," and you go, "Oh, damn it, yeah."
Just had some really nice people just rock up and say, "Oh, I really, really enjoy listening," and you no idea what that means.
Especially when there's someone that's not got any followers that you know, or just a friend of a friend of a friend you've not known. When it's someone who's in the circle, it's one thing. When it's someone you've never met before, reaching out, that's just nice. That's
golden. You can't do much better than that, And as we say, go to Apple Podcasts, do the thing. If you listen, do you know what? If people listen and actually listen all the way through, that's cool. I like that.
With the listening now, they've kind of almost done that.
I know.
Do it again.
We like you very much. Give yourself a hug.
Here's your advice for the next episode of We're Not Wizards. Do that, what you did here, with that one.
Again.
In fact, no. Wait, no. If you can just download this one again, and then again and again, and do it 5 times. You can just download it and delete it. I'd quite like to win that top downloads list. So if you can just cheat and just really let's just really go for it. Take an hour out of your day and just download and delete and download, delete and download, delete. Get a couple of devices going as well. Get your laptop, get your phone, get your tablet, and just go. I want to destroy this.
You want that top 10 place so badly, don't you?
I want the dinosaur trophy.
You want the pinky that looks like a leg.
Maybe that's what I should put on the dinosaur.
That would be so amazing.
And they're like, "What's this mean?" It's quite involved. Okay.
It's just you have to listen to episode 182 to find out. 182? Do you believe that I've done 182 episodes?
It's flown past so quick. I mean, blink and you'll miss it, eh?
It's like a factory farm. It's ridiculous.
See what I did?
It's got 185, 189.
No, it's got to be 182 now.
It's got it's like a reverse timer on a bomb. We're reaching back into the past, to the beginning of the dawn of time. Listen, thank you very much for coming on.
Oh, it's a pleasure, Mr. Smith. As always.
Is
this the most guest visits at this point? I'm on 4. Has anyone got more than me?
No. Yeah.
Yes, dinosaur champ.
You can come back on again. It's all fine.
Oh, come on, next week we'll do it again. Just really cement my lead. No, thanks for having me on. This has been very, 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 very fun. It doesn't feel as late as it is, and that's the sign of a good chat.
It's a sign of a most excellent chat. There's only 2 more things to do. The first thing is to remember that we are many things, but we're not wizards. Are we wizards?
Mostly not.
That'll do. I'll accept that off you. And the second thing is to say goodbye, so it's a goodbye from the rather wonderful, the fantastic, the amazing, the light at the end of many tunnels, the Auburn one-bro warrior. That is Mr. Paddy.
These verbal blowjobs are so good for my ego. Thank you. Goodbye from me.
And again, that's our explicit rating. Wrecked on iTunes. So, and it's a goodbye from me. Remember, stay safe, roll 6s, and be a bunch of groovy fuckers. Until next time. Goodbye.
It's really going for it at the end there.
I couldn't say cut.